Alrighty guys, we are working on the Lexus today. We are back from a road trip down to Flagstaff, and we just have enough time to get some parts done on this thing. But yeah, we've got some parts to throw on here. We're going to be doing all of the control arms just about. We'll be upgrading those using parts from today's sponsor, SuperPro and Whiteline as well. So we're going to throw on some awesome components from them, which should make all the difference when towing and whatnot, which honestly is a lot of what we got this car for. It's a great adventure vehicle, but the big focus for us is towing, so that on-road handling and stability is pretty important. So let's get rolled into the garage so we can put this all together. Well, now that we've got it loaded in the garage, you know, we've completed that never-ending shuffle of having five off-road cars, or more really, but we've got her in. We will now start unboxing some of the parts. So let's see what we got. Should be a lot of fun. Alrighty, here we go. We've got a slew of parts from mostly SuperPro, but we've also got a little bit of something here from Whiteline as well. Let's do a little movie magic and unbox these guys. And there we go. We've got it all unboxed. We are still just kind of getting used to the blue. It'll be a little bit of a change on this bad boy, but I think we're gonna grow to love it. In worst case, we can always rattle can it. But here we go. We've got a good number of upgrades here. This is mostly going to be refreshing bushings, increasing the stability, also giving us more adjustability. We've got adjustable pan hard bar here. This is from Whiteline. We've got our two rear lower control arms as well, which will make a big difference in durability and a little bit of that alignment as well. We've got beefier sway bars with several points to attach your sway bar end links that can soften or stiffen up your ride, your handling. In the front, we'll put these adjustable front end links as well, which should stiffen things up just a little bit more. Also got the front lower and upper control arms. These are set up for 2 to 4 inches of lift straight from SuperPro. They've got their poly bushings in them, which does a ton for handling. And then the cool thing about these lower control arms is you've got offset joints, or offset poly bushings. So these should give us that extra bit of caster to fit larger tires. Now, we currently do not rub with our TRD Pro wheels and 33-inch Milestars, but this should give us just that extra in the future should we decide we want to throw a little bit bigger tire on there. So super excited to throw all these on and get that extra stability back that we're looking for. Now, you might ask me, why are you putting sway bars on an off-road vehicle? And the simple answer is, this thing sees a lot more on-road use and especially towing use than anything. So we want the most on-road handling we can get. We want to be able to tow safely and securely and still go hit the trails. So by throwing all of these upgraded parts on, we're going to increase that handling on-road for sure. We've also get a little bit of extra alignment adjustment in there as well. So with all of this, we're going to be definitely stabilizing the vehicle, but that's all we're looking for. So this thing does get down and dirty off-road pretty good, and these will definitely help stabilize it, like I said, but it's not going to necessarily increase our articulation by any means, but that's okay. We're just looking for that stability. So these things are so capable from the factory. Doing this is not necessarily going to impede it much at all, and for what we're doing is exactly what we're looking for. So if you want to do a bit of stability upgrades, this is the way to go for sure. Let's get to it. Now, really quick, before we get to the actual install, let's take a look at the parts that we're going to be putting in here. This first big bar right here is from Whiteline, like I mentioned earlier. This is going to be our rear pan hard bar, and you can see they've got that adjustable end over there. This will allow us to recenter the back axle. As you lift these vehicles, your axle decides to shift to the passenger side, because that sway bar, or this pan hard bar, is kind of going from up in the chassis down to the axle. So as you lift the vehicle, that bar goes like this, kind of tilts down on the driver's side, and then you end up with your axle shifted. So we'll end up lengthening this slightly over the factory length, and that should help us recenter the rear tire. You know, this thing has about a 2 to 3 inch lift on the rear, so this should help with that a little bit. We've also got our adjustable lower trailing arms as well. These are what connect the axle to the forward or center portion of the chassis. This keeps it in line with the rear wheel well, basically. And these are adjustable as well. We got our adjustment there. So we'll end up, probably believe it's shortening these just slightly to kind of correct all of that geometry. We'll just do the tiniest bit since this vehicle is at a moderate lift and currently not rubbing too bad or rubbing really at all in the rear. We're mostly going to focus on adjusting that rear panhard bar. Now for this, these rear and front sway bars, we've got these 2 additional points for adjustment, which is something that I'm very excited to play around with on the sway bars. We've got different points where we're going to attach our end links. So we'll look at this one, for example, this being our front sway bar. So we can either mount our end link forward or rearward on that sway bar. And when we mount it forward, it gives a little bit of extra leverage, which softens how that sway bar handles the vehicle. Mounting it on that rear portion will stiffen how the vehicle handles. So we can kind of play around with it, whether that's softening the front and stiffening the rear, since we do tow quite a bit with this vehicle, or vice versa, or running it all the way stiff if we really wanted to. It gives us a couple of options that we can kind of play with as time goes forward. We've also got our adjustable end links to kind of dial in, just so that the vehicle's not under any tension, or the sway bar's not under any tension when we're at our neutral point. So we'll be able to play with that a little bit as well. And get everything kind of squared away and settled in. So super excited to now have those options for this vehicle. Now we've got the lower and upper control arms for the front. These are going to be super key in should we decide to go larger tires later in the future, as well as improving our handling. We currently have the, I believe, original lower control arm in the front of this vehicle, which you'll get to see here in a little bit. And its bushings are a little bit worn out, as well as the ball joint. So with now our poly offset bushings, we're going to get a lot better handling, as well as increase that potential caster, which will help us fit a little bit larger tires should we choose to go that direction in the future. These upper control arms also have a nicely sealed and replaceable ball joint if we need to in the future, as well as some solid bushings to keep everything controlled. So with all these items, we should feel a lot more stable and get to cruising on the road. So very excited to get these guys in. We'll start here in the rear since we got a lot of easy access. Alrighty, now that we've got it kind of here off the ground, we'll adjust this one side just a little bit more, and then we can level everything. Well, now you can see that we've got those jack stands in there, tires are off the ground. So we're gonna go ahead and get those tires off all together and get those panhards off. Alrighty. Tires are off and we're on to the next part. While we're in here, let's take a look at all of the bits that we'll be messing with. First of all, we've got our super dinky panhard bar. That's going to be this long little guy right there. We've got our top mount here on the passenger side. On the driver, we've got it down there. Let's see if I can zoom in right there on the driver's side. But we've got our trailing arm, which goes from here under the passenger door. Goes right there, connects down at the differential, or at the axle rather. So we'll be messing with that one as well. And then we've got our rear sway bar, this little dude here. So we've got a few things to mess with. We'll start with our panhard bar, since it's nice and accessible here. And it kind of keeps everything in line. So we'll get that one taken care of. And then we'll work on our sway bar and then go to the panhard. But I'm not sure how much of this I'm going to show you, but I think what I'm going to show you is the end result after each of these things is installed, or any tips and tricks I find along the way. But yeah, we'll get taking this apart. Well, we've got the first trailing arm out. You can kind of look at these bushings and see they've got some cracks going on. Honestly, not so bad for what I assume is 20 years, but still, definitely a little bit tired and you know, set for factory spec, not quite the lift that we've got going. So we'll get those changed out. This bad boy was a little bit bent up, but we kind of put it back together. So once we tighten it all down, we should be good. The one downside with these Toyotas is that you got your frame right here, frame going all the way down, and then that bracket sits a little bit low, so it's prone to hitting on rocks and things, but nothing too terrible that we can't keep using it as it is. So we'll get this new arm kind of put together. It's got it over there, and we're going to be anti-seizing it, but let's get that together and throw it in, and I'll show you what's going on. So we've got our trailing arm here compared to our new beefy caked one. This thing is pretty hollow, pretty thin, versus a very hefty, like I gotta really grip it to hold on, but our little bit more aggressive, heavier duty one. So we are very excited to throw it in. I'm gonna go ahead and put some anti-seize on these threaded joints here, just so that with our P&W weather, we don't ever have an issue taking that apart if we need to. But gonna get those all put together. Alrighty, full of anti-seize, ready to rock. I'm going to now adjust this to a little bit longer, about a 1/4 inch or a little more than that longer than the factory arm, and then throw it in. As you can see, I've got it set up just a tad longer than it was from the factory. I'll go ahead and tighten up that jam nut now, and we'll throw this in, and I'll do the other side, and we'll get on to probably our sway bar, and then onto the panhard. Well, we are back at it. Had a bit of a chatty neighbor, but that's okay. So we've got our panhard bar in and adjusted. We've got the passenger side trailing arm in. We managed to get this sway bar in, which took quite a while. Had to jack up the chassis with the hitch. The axle still being supported by the jack stand, so we're pretty stable still, which is good. But I got just enough space to be able to squeeze that sway bar in and out. I've got the, let's see, I've got these bushings right here, the sway bar bushing, greased up and ready to go. So we'll bolt that together, lower the card down again, do the reconnecting of the end links, and then finish with that passenger side or driver's side trailing arm, and the rear end will be done and ready to button back up. So we'll get that done here, and then probably do the front end tomorrow as we're losing light. It's about 8:30, so try and get this done as quick as I can because I got ramen waiting for me upstairs. Alrighty, it is getting dark, so I got the flash on, but we've got our sway bar end link connected. We've got our bushing bolted in and lubricated. So this side is just about done. I'll just tighten things down and then finish the other side, and we're ready to rock. So let's go. And we are back at it with the Lexus in the garage today. We got all of those rear arms done a few days back. Had to work on the Crosstrek in the meantime, but now we got the opportunity to do the front end of the Lexus. So we'll be tackling those front lower control arms, upper control arms, and the sway bar. While I'm in here, I'm also going to be doing the wheel bearing hub assemblies, but we're going to get those bad boys taken care of because those bushings are a little bit shot, the ball joint's tired, and all in all, we can feel a little looseness in the front that we're ready to fix. So let's get it going. I'm excited. Let's get this second part of our little Lexus series done. Alrighty, we are in here in our front engine bay wheel well area, and you can see I've actually already got SuperPro sway bushings I put on not too long ago, but we'll be swapping that sway bar out for a little bit of a beefier one. But yeah, so we've got an aftermarket upper control arm that I got on eBay that has been working well, but I think a little something more stout might be a little bit better. So we'll be throwing that SuperPro upper control arm, the SuperPro sway bar and sway bar end links as well as the lower control arm with offset poly bushings, which should be pretty sweet. These bushings are a little tired. They've been on here for presumably 200,000 miles, so we'll get those taken care of. We'll start taking that skid plate off so I can get access to the sway bar, and then go from there. Should be fun. A little bit of chaotic times, but we'll see. I'll show you guys the finished product here shortly, hopefully. Alrighty, well, I've got the arm just about out. If you know anything about these, it can be kind of a pain, but as you can tell by how beautiful this bolt is, either these arms have been done in the past, or you know, thankfully P&W doesn't get too rusty. I lucked out, so I've got the ball joint freed for the most part, and then the control arm's just about ready to come out. So we'll get these the rest of the way out, and then we'll get the rest of these out and call it a day. So not too bad. Alrighty, we've got it out, this control arm, and if you can see, it's got a little bit too much play going on. So that definitely lends to sloppy steering and handling and some clunking. So I'm very excited to get the new arms in, which we'll do here in a second. But yeah, some junk. Alrighty, we've got the front lower control arm with the mount for the ball joint attached and pinned on. So that is great. Now we're going to go ahead and throw the new hardware into the poly bushings up in the mounts, and then work on getting the knuckle back on. But we're getting there, so feeling pretty good about it. Let's see if we can get this on. Alrighty, we've got our new lower control arm nicely installed and ready to be torqued down once we get everything else done. We've got the upper control arm nut off of the main long bolt, and we've got our line off of the arm. So all we got to do is get this long bolt out and through the new arm in. Then we can work on this sway bar and the other side, and then it's buttoning everything up. So I'll see you guys when everything's buttoned up. Alrighty, we've got the upper control arm from SuperPro thrown in. We've got the lower control arm in as well. The wheel bearing and hub assembly has been replaced. I'll get onto the other side, start working away on those same things, and then swap out this sway bar. Once that sway bar is done, it's buttoning everything up, getting weight on everything, and torquing it all down. So I'll show you guys everything once we're finalized and rolling out of here. Alrighty, and we are all done. Time to just put tires on, get it on the ground, and tighten everything up. We're good to go. Tomorrow this thing will get aligned and we'll take it out for some adventures. So let's see how it does on road and on trail. And with that, we've got it all squared away. Just gotta go for that alignment, make sure everything's right and where we want it, but feeling pretty good. Looking nice and colorful, and I'm ready for that extra stability. So if y'all need some upgraded parts for your overland and especially towing oriented rigs, these are pretty solid parts, but let's see how they do off-road, and let's go. Well, the rig is all done and ready for alignment. Everything is tightened down till tomorrow, but kind of liking it. A little splash of color with the red from Toy Tech, and so far alignment's looking pretty good. So we'll let the techs take it and get it exactly right, but for now I gotta go give it a little test drive, feel these new bushings. Well, we are out here today about to hit Lonesome Lake. Time to test out all these new goodies from SuperPro. So we've got the front, lower and upper control arms, rear arms, as well as sway bars. So this should be a lot of fun. Let's see how this goes. We'll see if these things hold up to the task. Alrighty, we've got John in big old Granny Grand coming down. Nice little articulated spot. If you haven't seen this rig before, it is one of the most built WK2s I have ever seen in my life.
Thank you.
So it's a fun time. 37s on a WK2 with a 3.6. That's an adventure every day. Alrighty, we're up to our first obstacle with the Lexus, testing out the SuperPro parts. Carrie's gonna bring her down now, and we'll see just how good these parts hold up. Hopefully nothing snaps in half. Not too bad. She's in high right now, so nothing too crazy. And let's check out that panhard bar in the back real quick. Woo! Good amount of flex, which is feeling good. There we go. See if we can get that panhard bars doing its work, keeping that axle nice and controlled. We got these trailing arms up in here, covered in mud, but flexing nice, keeping everything right where it needs to be. Gotta love a little tuckage of that 33 in there, Carrie. What you thinking?
Oh, it's fun.
Yeah, it looks pretty good, keeping tires mostly on the ground.
Yeah, that's stable.
Yeah, loving the flexy setting on those sway bars, huh?
Yeah.
And here she goes, finishing that downward descent. Those sway bars may sacrifice a little articulation, but on road they feel nice, that's for sure. She's still getting down and dirty.
I am so...
I'm so sorry, bro. I didn't expect it to be that big.
Come here, let me give you a hug.
No, please. Alrighty, we got Carrie coming down. This nice little rutted obstacle. She's probably going to lift higher, but I think this will give us a good shot at looking at that panhard bar from Whiteline. This thing has been awesome at helping us correct for the lift. If you look right down there, you can start to see it. Oh yeah, we got that adjustable panhard doing what it needs to, but not too bad. It's been great at keeping that axle centered with all the extra lift, and it's a lot more durable than the factory one, so we've been really enjoying that. And if you guys need anything, check out Whiteline. They've got some pretty solid products for off-road, on-road, and rally vehicles, so plenty of options. Lola's ready for more adventures. Well, we had a successful day out here adventuring in the Lexus GX470. We're airing up now. Had a blast. The car did great. We did 75 some odd miles off-road today, and not a problem. So loving it. Did great. Absolutely loving these SuperPro parts. The handling's a lot better. Everything's doing really well. We might need some new shocks just because these are a little old. We already got them used, but other than that, it did great. So we had a blast. Off to the next adventure, but thank you guys for watching. Bye-bye.